This Subaru sold for over $300,000. Not a Ferrari, not a Porsche, a Subaru. It's called the Impreza 22B STi version.
And it is generally considered to be the ultimate high-performance Subaru.
But here's the strange part. When it came out in 1998, it wasn't the fastest Subaru you could buy. In fact, the cheaper car it was based on was actually quicker. So why are collectors willing to spend big money on the 22B? To answer that, we need to go back to rally racing. The story really begins in 1997. That's when the World Rally Championship changed its rules. The old system was called Group A, and it required manufacturers to build thousands of road-going cars, also known as the Homologation Special. But the new World Rally Car regulations removed that requirement entirely. Suddenly, manufacturers could build rally cars without producing thousands of street versions. That made competing cheaper. Subaru's response was the Impreza WRC. The car was built by ProDrive and designed by Peter Stevens. The new car was built on a two-door chassis most people have never heard of, called the Retina. The WRC car looked more aggressive than any road-going Impreza. Wide, purpose-built, and it quickly proved itself on the rally stage.
A Subaru Impreza built to the new World Rally Car regulations.
Yeah, it's good to have a change. The old Group A car was getting a bit long in the tooth, and it looks very spectacular as well, sounds different. Obviously the performance is a bit better, so I'm really looking forward to it.
But Subaru had a problem. Rally fans wanted a road car that looked like the WRC machine. But the new regulations meant you no longer had to build a homologation special. So that's when Subaru made a marketing decision that would take that dream and turn it into a reality. At the 1997 Tokyo Motor Show, Subaru revealed something unexpected. A wide-body Impreza finished in sonic blue mica, the same color as the rally car. And it had a name that would become legendary, the Impreza 22B STi version. By the following year, Subaru had achieved something remarkable: 3 consecutive World Rally Championship constructor titles, 95, 96, and 97. Subaru was on top of the rally world, and the 22B was built to celebrate that success on their 40th anniversary. The 22B started life as a WRX STi Type R. The car received a wide body, a unique front bumper, 17-inch gold BBS wheels, and a big-ass wing with adjustability. Under the hood, they took the EJ20 engine and bored it out to 2.2 liters. They also installed a quicker steering rack. The suspension used Bilstein dampers and iBox springs. On paper, the 22B looked like the ultimate Impreza. But did it perform like one? Not really. According to Car and Driver, the 22B could sprint to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. The quarter mile took 13.5 seconds at 101 miles per hour. Impressive numbers for the late 1990s. But here's where things get interesting, because the 22B was based on another car. And when Japanese show Best Motoring tested the two cars head-to-head, something surprising happened. The Type R was faster. It won in a straight-line acceleration, and it was quicker around the track. How could that be? After all, the 22B had the larger engine. However, it was a heavier car. And in performance testing, that extra weight canceled out the advantage from the larger engine. So despite the legendary reputation, the 22B wasn't even the fastest Subaru in 1998. Which makes the question even stranger. Why is this the one collectors want? And this is where the story gets messy. Because over the years, misinformation has grown around the 22B. In fact, there are 3 things about this car that people still argue about today: homologation status, horsepower, and the name. The first myth is that the 22B was a homologation special. The 22B doesn't exist because Subaru had to build it. It was a celebration car, not a homologation special. Another mystery, the car's horsepower. Officially, the 22B was rated at 276 horsepower, but many believe the real number was higher. This comes from something known as the Japanese Gentleman's Agreement. During the 1990s, Japanese automakers agreed to limit advertised horsepower to 276. The idea was to discourage increasingly powerful street cars. But in reality, many cars exceeded that number. So how powerful was the 22B really? One clue comes from a 22B that sold on Bring a Trailer. That car included a dyno test showing 240 horsepower at the wheels, which lines up with what Car and Driver estimated at the time. Some reports claim the engine produced 350 to 380 horsepower, but according to their calculations, the real number was probably much closer to 300. Then there's the biggest mystery of all. What does 22B actually mean? To this day, I don't think Subaru Japan has ever officially explained it. One theory is simple. The 22 refers to the 2.2-liter engine, and B stands for Boxer. Others think B represents Bilstein because of the suspension, and some believe it references Subaru's famous WRC sponsor, State Express 555, because in hexadecimal, 22B equals 555.
3 fives preferred around the world, the only filter cigarette made from such rare, smooth-flavored tobaccos.
Over the years, people have claimed to hear answers directly from Subaru engineers, but the only official explanation comes from Subaru of America.
22B is really just an internal designation they were using while preparing this car. The rally cars until that time had been using 2-liter engines. These were bumped out to 2.2-liter engines. That's where you get your 22, obviously. And then B was an internal code for turbo.
So at this point, we know 3 things about the 22B. It's not a homologation special, it's not the fastest Subaru, and it probably doesn't make as much horsepower as the rumors suggest. So why is it worth $300,000 again? To better understand what the 22B was really like to drive, I found 2 reviews from Subaru drivers Toshi Arai and Colin McRae. When they both drove the car, they noticed something special: the mid-range torque. Years ago, my 2005 WRX STi was displayed alongside Subaru of America's 22B at the Simeone Museum in Philadelphia. I remember standing there staring at the car thinking, this is probably the closest I'll ever get to driving a 22B. But my friend Ken has driven one, so let's get his take.
Oh, hi, Quinton-san. Yeah, so you want to know about what? This? Oh, wrong t-shirt, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. This is the correct one. Subaru World Rally Championship. And so this is the story. In 1998, when STi realized that people wanted a replica of the World Rally car, the Impreza WRC. And so they released that 5 million yen. It was very expensive, but it fulfilled the dreams of many Subaru fanboys and WRC fanboys. But to be honest, at the time, it was something of a very strange existence because it was expensive, but we also knew it was based on the normal Type R. So about 20 years ago, I had a chance to drive one. It was owned by a friend. At the time, the second-hand prices were not ridiculous as now. And immediately when I got into it, I understood already from driving regular Type RA and Type R that the steering was a little bit heavy because, of course, of the 235 wide tires and 17-inch. But the 2.2 liters made up for a little bit of lack of torque because of the short-stroke engine of the EJ20. Still, it couldn't match 3SG or 4G63 in terms of the low and mid-range torque, but it improved the drivability very much. However, I felt that the gear ratios were extremely short because it's based on the Type R, so it was prioritizing more of acceleration. But to be honest, after trying that car and then getting into cars like the S203, I felt that that was more Subaru's natural progression into what was called about the handling. They're moving towards more of the European type of car instead of the more hardcore feeling like Lancer Evolution. And the way you just turn the steering, of course, with the quick steering ratio, it grips very well. But honestly, it was not something super fantastic worth that kind of money, the same price as a GTR. It was really a commemorative car for Subaru. And I felt that the lighter, normal, narrow-body GC8 was maybe a little bit more fun, but still, it provided a very nice experience for those who wanted Impreza WRC. So that's my honest truth.
So is the 22B the holy grail Subaru? If you judge value based on performance alone, no. But that was never the point. It was built to celebrate Subaru's greatest moment in rally history, winning 3 consecutive WRC constructor titles. The 22B has the look of the rally car in a road car you can drive. The same rally car driven by the most popular rally driver in history, Colin McRae. In fact, Colin's very own prototype 22B sold for over $600,000. Combine that with the rise of JDM thanks to popular media, and cars like the Toyota Supra, Nissan Skyline GTR, and even the Subaru 22B now go for crazy money. Is the 22B the Holy Grail Subaru? Yes, but for its sentimental value and not for its performance.